welcome to Faewood, and I must say before I get started that I am so glad you guys can't see down here because I can hide all my crimes down here. This table is so messy right now, and I was like, I just don't feel like putting all the stuff away. I just want to start a new project. I will clean up all this junk afterwards, but I can start a video and you can't even see it. So I've been working on various things for my backdrop, as you guys know. It's been quite a journey. We've gone on a massive journey of all the bits and bobs in this little cabinet of curiosities and whatnot, and I add things to it occasionally. And then we did the chair, and today I want to do this thing over here. If you can see this little light up tree sitting at the back there, I lovingly refer to it as my trinket tree because back in Goblin Ball times, when trinkets were traded, so for anyone who's like, what the hell are you talking about? There was an annual Goblin Ball, COVID permitting, which it wasn't permitting last year, but where, you know, you would go dress up and everything, but there was also a tradition where people would bring what they call trinkets, which were just something small and maybe relevant to your costume or whatever, and you could trade them amongst other people that went, and it was a way sometimes to break the ice with people or just to have fun and collect interesting things that people were giving out. And yeah, it was a bit of fun, and all of the trinkets that I could hang up on here, I hung up. So it's got a whole bunch of random assortment of decorations on there. Now, there's nothing wrong with that tree. I love having a little light up tree. I bought it, I think, for like $30, so bonus. But, you know, the more I look at it and the more I sort of upgrade bits and pieces, the more I'm like, yeah, I would prefer like an enchanted looking tree though. You know, something that fit within this sort of fairy / fantasy realm and wasn't, I mean, look, it could have been a snow tree maybe because it's white, like maybe if it was like themed up or whatever, but it's honestly, it's just like made with tape. It looks like someone's got duct tape and just like literally taped around all of the branches and whatnot. I don't know if you guys remember in 2020, so long ago, isn't it? At least it feels like it. I was talking about different projects that I wanted to do. I was like sharing some hauls with you guys and all of that. I went on a bit of a craft haul journey and retail therapy journey to make myself feel better for the fact that we were stuck in lockdown in Melbourne for, I think they said it was over 100 days. Oh, great times. Anyway, I was talking about, I had like this clay and stuff, and I was going to make a lamp and everything, and I thought it'd be great, like, and I was thinking some sort of enchanted tree with a light in it and all of this sort of stuff. And one thing is I looked around my studio and went, where the hell am I putting this so-called lamp? Firstly, like, there is no surface that I can think of right now that I'm happy to dedicate to a lamp. I could possibly squeeze one in somehow. I couldn't think where to put it, so that was the first thing. And then the second thing was, what about this tree? I'm not happy with this tree. This could be a much better tree. So I am thinking instead of doing the lamp, or possibly I'll do that down the track, who knows. But for now, I have a light up thing that needs to look more like a cool enchanted tree. So that's what we're going to do. So how am I going to do this, you might ask? And short answer is I have no friggin' idea. I really don't know. I know what I want. I want an enchanted tree. I want moss, probably want some mushrooms in there. I definitely want to keep the lights. That's kind of the vibe. How am I going to do it? I don't know. Alright, this is the tree, so let's get a closer look at what this looks like. Can you see it's just like wire and tape, really? I mean, it's clever in its simplicity, but I think we can make this look so much nicer. This is the base here, and it has quite a long cord on it, so I may be able to, I don't know, see how it's like loose too. Maybe I can just like have that lean against the tree and just not come out from like the center part here. I think I'm okay with it just coming out from the bottom potentially, so that I don't have to have this loose cord that breaks up the aesthetic. We've got a base down here, just really simple. I can't even remember how that does up. It's got a little clip there I'm going to have to play around with. But basically, I am planning to put this on a piece of wood. Now, the reason I want to do that is because I want more surface area to play with. So I want to be able to add like roots going to the floor. I want, moss. I want, mushrooms, maybe even a woodland creature. Who knows? I'm not sure what I'm going to throw at this thing yet. But, the whole woodland, enchanted forest kind of thing happening. And I can't do it with that. I need more room. So I have a piece of masonite just over here, actually. Excuse the mess. This is like the corner. You guys probably don't realize, or maybe you do, I don't know. I hide a lot of my future project stuff in this area usually. So and things that come in for videos, I don't know why. This is like the designated dumping corner for like videos. So you can see there the piece of masonite that is for this. You can also see some stuff for future projects. So have a guess if you can think about what I'm going to do with any of whatever you can see there. Bit hard to tell what some of it is, but anyway, so I need to take all these trinkets off so that I can mess around with this tree. I also was trying to think about what I want to do with like the lights, because I was sitting there ready to move the tree, and out of nowhere, this has never happened before, but one of these just fell off. And it started me thinking, do I even want these on here? I don't know the answer to that yet, but I'm intrigued by the fact that I can take these off. So that opens up possibilities to either not have them, to have something else, but I'll have to have a think about it, because I'm actually like, nothing's jumping out at me at this stage of what I would really want on the ends of all of the branches instead of a little bulb, but maybe I want something else. I tried to use the tape method. One of my subscribers told me about the tape method, or reminded me about the tape method to stop it from doing this, but I don't know if it's the wood or my really, really cheap jigsaw, but it happened anyway. So I have my little base, and now I need to work out how to attach it to the little base. Sounds simple enough, but the only little points of contact, it has tiny little black ends of each of these 4 bits down here, and then the rest of it's like sitting above that. So there's nothing much surface area wise to like glue down or whatever. So I don't know, what I'm thinking is I will glue those sections, and maybe I'm gonna cover it in something, paper, something, I don't know. I'm trying to work out how on earth I'm going to attach this thing, and I really don't know. After some deliberation, I decided the best way forward to use some leather scraps that I have in my stash, and then to staple them with my staple gun. And I pulled it really taut on each of the legs so that it would hold it in place. I also realised I would need to attach the 2 halves of this tree together, because once I've put all the decorations and everything on this, there's no way I would be able to pull this apart. and I wanted the cord to come out the bottom, so I used electrical tape to wrap it against the tree. I feel like I'm kind of looming over the camera at this angle. I was trying to work out how to do this tree, and it dawned on me, and in fact, it dawned on me to use foam, and then Slash reminded me that it had dawned on me some time ago to use foam, and I forgot that I had that revelation, and then was like, how am I going to make this tree? Oh yeah, the idea that I had originally, which was use some foam. So I have this foam here, which is pretty much just your regular old styrofoam. It came from a fridge that we bought during, like, just before the second lockdown here in Melbourne. A lockdown friendly fridge freezer. So I was like, oh, I'm going to hold on to that for a project. So anyway, I don't know exactly how I'm going to piece this thing together yet, but I figure it's a tree and it's kind of forgiving as far as shape goes, because as you can see, there's a lot of holes in this thing, so it's not just a nice smooth flat sheet of styrofoam we have here. This is a cut and piece it together kind of thing, and I have another piece down here which is totally covered in packing tape, but I might use that one as well if I can get that packing tape off. So anyway, let's get going. So I hot glued these sections to it first, and then I have a hot wire foam cutter that I use to shape the tree, and I just kept it really organic, so not trying to pull it down in a straight line, really trying to add little nooks and crannies in there, but also keeping the base of the tree wider because that's where the roots would be. And then I just started piecing in little bits and pieces for the roots, and in between. It's going to depend on the type of foam you have and the shape of the foam you have to whether this makes sense for you, but this was the foam I had and it was lots of thin little bits like this, so I did the best with what I had. Now, ordinarily, I hate this stuff because I had a really bad experience with it where I tried to glue letters onto my I believe in magic sign, if you saw that video, and it expanded all over the place, which was definitely not what I wanted for that project. This project, on the other hand, I want to fill in the gaps. So I started thinking, you know what, I'm not going to use this for anything else. I might give this a go. Is it going to work? I have no idea, but it does say it's like sandable and stuff. So I'm thinking this could be the ticket to filling out the rest of my tree before I start adding things on top of it. So far this thing looks like some sort of weird ass alien tree from another planet. Not the look I'm going for, but I mean, I don't know. It all adds to the layers, or that's what I'm telling myself anyway. I've got the Tarzan's grip, and as you can see, it's starting to expand. I'm not really sure if it's going to keep expanding because the thing says it takes 30 minutes to set. So this might be it, but I sort of remember this stuff expanding a lot more. So I this time was actually hoping for a bigger bang, much more expansion and much more filling of nooks and crannies. And it's done some sort of really weird looking thing at the bottom there, And I actually don't mind it because, I don't know, it's all going to look hopefully mossy and woodlandsy and stuff, so having a bit of weird texture underneath is probably okay. So, I don't know. Anyway, I need to try and smooth this thing out. I've thought about different ways to do it, and basically, I just don't want it to be too heavy. So, I don't want to go in with like clay because I'm going to need so much clay to cover this whole thing. I might have to think about doing some sort of paper mache, which is what I was thinking before. So, I'm thinking I might do that. I might give it a little bit more time just in case we have any more expansion. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Well, I was looking at my tree and I thought, you know what, it's missing something. It needs some bigger branches because the little white branches are kind of small. And I'm hoping that these will be strong enough for me to have things sit on them, like my little raven guy. So I'm going to work out a way that I can attach these and try and arrange them on the tree. So I was able to stick the branches into the foam somewhat, but to really give it stability, I needed to wrap them with wire at the base. So for about the bottom, say 15 centimeters or so, I wrapped some strong wire around, like a fence wire, and then I wrapped that around the base of the tree wherever I was putting the branch, just to hold it in place. And then this is plaster. So this is the same sort of stuff you use to patch holes in your house. It's the top coat stuff, not the base coat, because that stuff is really hard to sand. And then to add some more realism, I added some like vine type branch things and roots and so forth with this tin foil. And then same thing, I went over it with that plaster. Fizzy, what are you doing? Hello back there. Can you get out? You got yourself in there, you can get yourself out again. You're going to live in there now, are you, Fizzy? Huh? Yeah, silly duffer. Well, this is what we have so far. Still looking a little bit rough. I'm gonna see if I can sand that back, fill in some more of the gaps, try and make it look a little bit more natural because it's looking a little blocky at the moment. I don't want to add too much clay and plaster and all that because it's going to be really heavy, but we'll see what we can do. Also, lazy Susan. So helpful. I added foil over each of the little light bulbs there because when I spray this with black, I didn't want those to get sprayed because obviously no light would come through. So I figured foil was a nice, easy way. It did take me a while though. And I ran out of spray paint, so I had to improvise and I used some other black paint that I had, and then I thought, oh, I'll probably have moss at the bottom, so I'll spray that with green. And I got my airbrush out. Now, I love using an airbrush, but I'm finding my compressor to be a pain in the ass because it only gives me a few minutes of working time before it gets overheated. So, and then a bit of dry brushing and things until I got the colour I wanted. And then I used a sponge to add some moss as a base for moss that I'll put on there. guys, we've got a painted tree now, and I'm pretty happy with how it's looking actually. I've put a lot of sort of moss and stuff on it with the paint, but I'm actually going to go in now and put some real moss on there. Well, real moss. More real moss than paint, I guess. All of this stuff that I got a while back at the hobby store. I think I did share it in a haul some time ago with you guys. So I've got lots of fun things, lots of mossy fun things. And I'm not sure exactly what I'll put on there, so I've got to play around with it. But I've got little mossy rocks. I've got various coloured mosses that you can sprinkle. And like different shaped mosses and stuff like that. I've even got like moss carpet, so that's an option as well. And then flowers and whatnot. So all sorts of things that can make this look very enchanted, I think. So I'm going to try and play around with some of that. I was trying to work out what glue I was going to use, and for the moment I think I'm going to try this craft glue just because it's really nice and tacky. Like PVA is a little tricky sometimes because it's not so tacky, whereas this one is. So I will give that a try. If that doesn't work, I do have my hot glue as well, which I may attach some things with hot glue. Anyway, let's play around.
Yeah. What's wrong? What's up, Fizzy?
I decided I needed a bit of greenery, and I didn't have a lot of leaves that I could use, but I had these little sprigs of leaves that I thought were nice. They're not on every branch, but it just gives you that little hint of greenery. And then I had these little red flowers, and I added little dots of those around.
What are you doing back there, Fizzy? What you checking out? You're looking at all Mama's mess. Well, this place looks like a total bomb site right now. This is all the junk, and Fizzy doesn't know what to make of it. Yeah, don't worry, the hot glue gun is definitely not switched on. I don't let him in here while I'm doing that, or if I'm doing anything that could hurt him in any way. Alright, well Fizzy's out of here now, and I'm going to keep going with the tree, and I need to clean up this studio. Something shocking. I do want to do a bit more decoration on the tree, and I'm feeling a little bit like I wouldn't mind getting a bit of inspiration from Avatar. I was wanting to put some mushrooms on, and I wanted to make them glowy, and I'm like, let me look up some pictures of like Avatar inspiration. So I'm going to do that. I haven't done it yet. Not sure how this is going to come out, but we're going to give it a try, and I don't know, might put a few flowers here and there, maybe a few more leaves. I'm not sure, but I definitely feel like I want something more on the tree.
I went through my flowers and leaves stash to try and find anything that looked a bit realistic. I didn't want anything that was too large. There's only a couple of flowers that I picked out that were a little bit larger. But for the most part, I was trying to keep scale a bit more realistic to what you might see, which is usually going to be small little flowers, mostly greenery, and dotted those about the place. Now I have these fake mushrooms, and they were just a little bit too fake, so I added some paint on there just to give it some shading, and then tried to make the dots a little less perfect because it looked a bit more realistic that way. Now I tried to capture this, and you're not going to see it very well. I'm using an epoxy sculpt, but I'm using the black one. So I added some mushrooms, a few different types. The ones that just sort of little shelves that come out of the tree. And then I have these ones that I've used wire and my tubing to make the stem. And then again, epoxy clay on the top to put the top of the mushroom on there. It just gave it a way to anchor it into the tree. And then I had these like butterfly wall stickers, and I had to put a bit of a backing on them, but then I hot glued them onto the tree because I thought that was a nice touch. Can you guys hear the purr coming from Fizzy? He wouldn't leave me alone, so here we are. Well, I've been working so hard on this tree. It is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. I feel like this is definitely a running theme for my projects. Anyway, I've added all sorts of little mushrooms and things. I used epoxy clay. I was going to use air dry clay, but it wasn't sticking to the tree, whereas epoxy clay, because it has epoxy in it, is tacky and sticks to things really well. So I ended up doing the mushrooms like that. And I made some mushrooms where I used some of my tubing as well for the like stem of the mushrooms, and then put the epoxy clay on top. So now I need to paint those mushrooms, but I also want to use some glowing powders and stuff. I want to give it a little bit of an avatar makeover as well, so that hopefully when the lights go out it has I have some cool kind of glowing mushrooms and bits and bobs on the tree. So I'm going to give that a try. I haven't used this glowing powder before. It's from the Stuart Semple, what were they called again? Craft Culture or something. I forget the name of his website, but same place that I got the mirror chrome, I ended up getting glowing powder at the same time because I wanted to make the postage worthwhile. And I got, is it Super Base, I think, is the medium that they have to basically paint on the powder, like mix with the powder and paint it on. So I'm going to give that all a try and see if I can make my tree glow. Can I work on my tree now? Once I can put this little lump of fur down, I will do all of that. Now, I probably didn't need to spend as much time as I did painting these. Not that I spent a lot of time, some time. But when you put the glowing powder over the top, it was quite opaque, so you really couldn't see much of the mushroom afterwards. And off camera, I actually added a second coat of the glowing powder because they just weren't glowing enough. I think if you had like resin might be cooler to make these sort of mushrooms just to get a brighter colour, or possibly that glow-in-the-dark polymer clay, which I would like to play with sometime. But, you know, if you don't want to make these glow, you could just paint these and leave it as that. So I had two colours of the glowing powder, blue and pink. The pink glowed really well. The blue, not as much, so I did need to try and build that up. I really do like the pink powder, and I'd like to try using it in a resin or something else like that. I found brushing it on, you see the brush strokes a bit much, and that's why I'm thinking I would possibly do a different method next time. But all in all, I am so happy with this tree. It did take me a while, and I had to work out exactly how to build it up so it wasn't going to be too heavy, but I'm super pumped with the outcome. If you guys have a tree like this at home and you want to give it a makeover like this, I highly encourage you. It is so much fun to play around with all of this stuff and to create your own enchanted avatar awesome tree. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you have, hit subscribe. There's all sorts of creative adventures that happen on this channel, and weird and wonderful wackiness as well to boot. So I do hope you'll stick around for all of that. And for the rest of you, I'll see you next time in Faewood. Bye, guys.